Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, Madam Secretary. Recently, I led a delegation to Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iraq, and it was very, very interesting. And we had a sit-down meeting with President Zardari, a very frank discussion. He looked at us in the eye and said that he had no knowledge that bin Laden was in his country. But we do know it's probably likely that lower-level officials knew of his presence in Pakistan. Then we had Dr. Afridi, who helped us over there. Now he's in prison for treason, as was pointed out earlier. They gave the Chinese access to the helicopter that was left behind at the compound. And then finally, the Haqqani network. And we talked about the Haqqani network. And I asked for his support, as you have, very strongly in the past, asked for his support to go after the Haqqani network. And he said he doesn't play, he goes after all terrorist organizations, not just the Haqqani. However, last year we had the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Admiral Mike Mullen, testified that with ISI support, Haqqani operatives planned and conducted a truck bomb attack as well as an assault on our embassy. We also have credible evidence that they were behind the June 28th attack against the Intercontinental Hotel in Kabul and a host of other smaller but effective operations. In short, he said the Haqqani network acts as an arm of Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence Agency. Which takes me to my next question. We're giving all this foreign aid to a country that is complicit in working with the terrorists who are killing Americans. I understand all the implications. Zardari referred to our relationship as like a bad marriage, but divorce is not an option. But when it comes to the funding, we're looking at crafting legislation that would essentially require the State Department to certify that they are not working with these networks, including Haqqani. And if that cannot be certified, then the foreign aid will be cut off. I wanted to get your thoughts on that legislation.
Well, I think, Congressman, what President Zardari told you on behalf of the civilian leadership of the government of Pakistan is true. He has been a good partner in going after terrorism that threatens his country and Afghanistan and our troops. We have no evidence of any high-level official knowing about bin Laden, but like you, I have to assume that lower-level people, had to have known something, but we haven't proven that. It could be asserted, but not yet proven. So this is a complicated, difficult relationship. And what we are doing now is making it very clear what our expectations have to be going forward. And there is no doubt in my mind that certain elements of the Pakistani government are more ambivalent about cracking down on terrorism than other elements. When I sit across from the foreign minister or talk to the ambassador or talk to the prime minister and others, I think they are very sincere. They know that the scourge of terrorism is killing Pakistanis. Zardari knows that terrorists killed his wife. And yet there has been relationships between terrorist groups and the military and the intelligence services for many decades. And what's unique now is that this democratically elected government has survived longer than any other democratically elected government. For the first time in the Parliament, you have questions being asked of the military and the ISI. You have the Supreme Court asking questions about actions of the military and the ISI. So you see the strains and stresses of trying to have a civilian government in a democracy assert control over all elements of the government. And we want to continue to support the democratic trend inside Pakistan. So, walking this line, trying to make sure what the levers we can pull are, where we can really put pressure, is basically how I spend a lot of my time. And I take seriously the underlying thrust of your question, and I will carefully evaluate all factors when it comes time to make a decision.
Let me just say thank you for you've been very strong about the Haqqani network. I think Zardari is sincere in his efforts, but I don't think he has a lot of control over his own military and the ISI, and I think that's part of the problem. And so I would urge you to continue your efforts to get them to fight with us against these terrorists rather than be complicit